Welcome to Chris's Storytelling Corner. This is Christopher Moldong. Today, I'm going to do a manga review for Your Lie in April, volumes 10 and 11, and that will finish off the series. The next manga series to be reviewed will be by Clamp, and it will be Kobato. So next time I will have a manga review for Kobato, volumes 1 and 2, and I'll also have a reading of The Underachievers, pages 7 and 8, which I'll actually finish that short story as well. You can check out my author's website at www.chrismoldon.com. You can buy my first novel, a fantasy adventure called The Mustard Prince in the Condiment Kingdom, for $4.99. Also for $2.99, you can buy my short story collection, a collection of 10 short stories in the horror, fantasy, and realistic fiction genres. Check out my Twitter page and author's Facebook page. Links to all these will be provided on the description. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and comment to this channel if you're on YouTube, or follow, share, and comment on this channel if you're listening to this on SoundCloud. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Stitcher, please rate, review, and share this channel. So, I'm going to do a recap of Volume 10 of Your Lie in April, and then give my thoughts on Volume 10, and do the same for the final volume, Volume 11. So let's get started. Let's recap Volume 10 of Your Lie in April. The volume begins with Kaori agreeing to partake in a risky surgery. Kosei practices the piano as Kaori listens through their cell phones. She criticizes him, and Kosei hangs up on her. Tsubaki gets a B on her mock exam, back in school now. Kashiwagi says that it must be love. Kosei visits Kaori in her hospital room, but she's not there. He sees Kaori's parents, and they take him to where Kaori is. She's in the rehabilitation room to keep up her stamina and stay in shape. She wants to play on stage again. In a flashback, Kaori tells the doctor and her parents that last April she met a boy. She made a promise to that boy that they would play together again. She's going to fight as hard as she can too. Kaori's parents thank Kosei for bringing color to Kaori's gray heart. Back in school, Kashiwagi explains to Tsubaki that placing high in the East Japan piano competition is basically the same as passing his entrance exam. Kashiwagi suggests to Tsubaki that she bring him a snack. Tsubaki brings snacks to Kosei's home, and he's asleep on the floor. She wakes him up and gives him a haircut. Back with Kaori, the doctor asks her if the boy is going to see her, presumably Kosei. She says that he's in the middle of something right now. So now we're at the East Japan piano competition. Emi glares at Kosei as he is eating an egg sandwich in the hallway. He offers her one, and she accepts and pretty much just loosens up. Takeshi comes out of the restroom looking sick and sees the two eating sandwiches together. Kosei offers him one, and the three just kind of hang out together, eating sandwiches and talking in the hallway. Takeshi is called to perform on the stage, walking to the piano. He says internally that it's time to say goodbye. We're told that Takeshi was a naughty little boy who hated boredom. His mother put him in different activities, but he showed the most aptitude for piano. He enters his first piano competition, and at 8 years old encounters his arch enemies Kosei and Emi. During Takeshi's performance, he says that it's humiliating, that the audience is disappointed in him, his sister is worried about him, and his enemy is backing him up. We're shown Takeshi as a kid. He runs up the steps to the shrine angry that Emi and Kosei wiped the floor with him. Takeshi says that 2 years ago, Kosei wasn't the ideal that Takeshi imagined. Takeshi feels betrayed, but realizes that he's the one to broaden his own horizons. When Takeshi saw Kosei again, Kosei was better than his ideal. Takeshi's instructor says that Takeshi does not need to be Kosei Arima. He is the true heir to the piano, Takeshi is. Hiroko says that we learn a lot from our foes. Competitors can lean on each other even as rivals. Takeshi says internally that he has two awesome rivals to go up against. He can fight them with all his heart and soul. And then he says he's a lucky guy. So he plays the piano really well, and Nagi says, "Welcome back, my hero." After the performance, Takeshi gets a standing ovation. However, he still has another set to play. Backstage, Takeshi literally rolls backstage and is very tired. Kosei and Emi help him up. Takeshi tells Kosei not to mess up now and that he's going to clean his clock in the finals. Kosei and Emi then criticize him and his performance. Internally, Takeshi says, "See you around, my hero. Thanks for everything." We're shown Kosei, Emi, and Takeshi when they were young, sitting next to each other. It was at the age of 8 that Takeshi met these lifelong friends. Takeshi, Emi, and Kosei are then listed as finalists to the competition. We're then shown Tsubaki as a child, and she has a cold. Everyone calls her a gorilla, but Kosei buys her a lemonade and tells her that she's not a gorilla and that she's a girl. In the present, Tsubaki shows everyone that she got a B on her mock exam. She wants to show it to Kosei, but he's not in the music room. So Wataru and Kosei visit Kaori in the hospital, but Kosei is reluctant to go because he'll be a third wheel. So Kosei watches as Wataru and Kaori just talk to each other. Hiroko, her daughter, Kosei, and Nagi eat together. Hiroko says that Takeshi was the best in the preliminaries. Kosei says that he's going to be himself and play the music he believes in. And then he tells Hiroko that if push comes to shove, he'll just have Hiroko send him overseas. In an internal monologue, though, Hiroko says that she's not ready, presumably to send him overseas. Hiroko asks Kosei who it'll be, the short-haired girl or long-haired girl. We're shown a flashback of Kosei and Tsubaki finding a black cat. Kosei takes the cat home and names her Chelsea. We're then shown Kosei crying in a playground, and Tsubaki finds him. Kosei's mother apparently got rid of Chelsea. Kosei regrets not being able to save Chelsea and says that he has no heart, but Tsubaki tells him that he does have a heart. She then tells him that she'll be beside him forever and knows everything about him. Back in the present, Kosei and Tsubaki walk to the hospital, but before they go into the hospital, they see Wataru going into the hospital to see Kaori, and Kosei decides to go home, and Tsubaki goes with him. It starts to rain, and they wait until the rain stops. Tsubaki tells him that he didn't want to go see Kaori because Wataru was there. She then tells him that he loves Kao-chan, and Kosei responds with a yeah. Tsubaki then yells at Kosei and asks if he's stupid, and tells him he has no chance. She then tells him that his only choice is for him to fall in love with her. She kicks Kosei's leg and then runs off. Her time just started moving forward. At school, things are awkward between Kosei and Tsubaki, and Kosei thinks about what Tsubaki said to him as he's practicing piano later on today, and Hiroko gets mad at him. Hiroko tells him that this competition will determine his future as a pianist, and he's standing at a crossroads. On the phone, Kaori tells Kosei that he doesn't have to come see her anymore, and then she hangs up on him. Kaori then immediately calls him back and tells him about an airplane in the sky. They apparently share the same sky. Kosei says that he'll visit her again and tells her that he wants to see her. Internally, he says that this is what must be called love. Kosei and Wataru visit Kaori at the hospital, and Kosei reveals to Wataru that he's been avoiding her. He also tells Wataru that he likes her a lot. Wataru says that he knows. Before they even get to Kaori's room, though, something happens to Kaori that's an emergency, and she needs treatment. They're told to leave by the doctors and nurses. As Kosei walks home, he sees a dead black cat and takes it to the vet. His hands are covered in blood. The cat dies. Kosei cleans his hands at an outside faucet in what looks like a park. At the end of the volume, Kosei gets it on his knees in front of the faucet, cries, and it looks like possibly he's throwing up as well. So some thoughts on Volume 10. Kaori agreed to have the surgery, but complications happened. Things have gone to the worst. However, she is practicing. We have one more volume left. So, you can assume various things. One, surgery doesn't go well. Or two, surgery goes well. Eventually she plays with Takeshi. And all is good. Maybe they get together as a couple. Who knows? Um, it's very strong of Kaori to agree to have the surgery, as not too long ago she asked Takeshi, or excuse me, she asked Kosei to commit double suicide with her. So this is quite a change in her character. How she's the one that's fallen, and now she's finding the strength to pretty much live on. A lot of this volume had to do with Takeshi's performance. A lot of it was in regards to Kosei. Kosei has a very big role in his life. He's a rival. Seems like he's a friend. He's also the mentor. Kosei's the mentor of Takeshi's sister Nagi, and Kosei is also Takeshi's hero, and that's a pretty big thing for him, who's I always say this about Takeshi, very intense guy. um, it really goes to show just how, like, when Kosei came back after 2 years, I mean, man, that guy must have been ultra heartbroken, Takeshi, to see him not play well and whatnot. But it looks like Kosei is really back to form, and now is a different Kosei. He plays differently too. He's not the human metronome anymore, but in a sense, he might actually be better now that he has more emotion into his performances. He's now better, and now Takeshi and Emi also have something to strive for. It's very cool. I think that Takeshi, Emi, and Kosei are kind of like these friends, rival, not really frenemies, I guess. Friendly rivals. I mean, they hung out. You know what I mean? It's just, hey, let's eat sandwiches in the hallway together. Like, I guess it's to be expected but it's cool because they're not just rivals. It's very odd if you think about it. It's like I would say that they're friends. Before anything else, I think that they're slowly but surely becoming friends with each other. I don't think they've full on. They're not going to hang out with each other during the weekends or anything like that. But they're definitely, they're at least very cordial with each other. But they definitely seem to, in a sense, be there for each other, in a sense. Because those two need Kosei, and in a sense, Kosei needs those two as well, because they're all bringing each other up. So in a sense, like, they're friends and they're helping each other through music as well. They speak through their performances, so it's really cool. Sometimes you'll see like three characters like this and they just like hate each other, and it's like, this one everyone's relatively cordial with each other. They're rivals, but they're not they're not. Well, Emmy can be a bit aloof and standoffish, but then when Kosei gave her a sandwich, she was just totally loosened up. Tsubaki finally admitted her love, more or less admitted her love for Kosei, but she didn't really say that she loves him, but she did strongly imply it. So she's moving forward as well. She had her short thing with her senpai, but she's always loved Kosei. And we all knew it. She now knows it. She made a move. things are moving forward with her. Kosei is kind of like, what? about it all. He seems the most confused out of everyone. And Tsubaki is somewhat confused, but being a little more, by taking such action like this, there's a lot more clarity in her life as to like what Kosei means to her at this point. We got the upcoming competition coming up. We haven't seen Kosei's performance. We should probably just assume that this final volume will have that performance. What role Kaori plays in it and the other characters play during the performance, we don't really know. Um, should be really interesting and a big part of the story. We also had Kosei admitting that he likes Kaori to Watari. Um, he's in love with her. I mean, this was no. I mean, come on. This is not a secret with the audience. Yeah, it was hardly a secret with Watari. He's just like, dude, I know. Like, it was. But I guess he needed to say it. More so than anything else. We knew it. Kosei needed to say it. And that makes it kind of weird because Tsubaki likes Kosei. Kosei doesn't really, I think Kosei sees Tsubaki as a friend, and then Kosei likes Kaori. So you still got that love triangle thing going on. Kaori and Watari kind of have this thing going on too. So we'll see how it goes in the final volume. So let's recap volume 11, the final volume of Your Lie in April. The volume begins with Takeshi practicing the piano and calling himself a genius. Nagi comes home looking worried. Watari tells Tsubaki and Kashiwagi that Kaori has been moved to the intensive care unit. Hiroko finds Kosei sitting beside his bed, utterly distraught. Just utterly distraught. In a flashback, Tsubaki asks Hiroko to help Kosei. He's going to fall apart again. Hiroko grabs Kosei's shirt and tries to drag him to practice, but he tells her that he can't do it anymore. He asks her why this always happens. He just played the piano and just wanted his mom to get better. He just fell in love, that's all, he says to himself. And then he tells Hiroko that he can't try anymore. At school, Kosei gets an envelope that says, I want cannelle. Kosei visits Kaori and she tells him that they let her back to her room. He brings her cannelle and she tells him that she doesn't want to be in the room. Kosei carries her around and they go outside and it's snowing. He carries her piggyback style. She asks if he's practicing the piano and he tells her no and that he just can't do it anymore. Kaori tells him that she'll be there and she's there for him. She tells him that she's going to have an operation on the same day as the East Japan piano competition. She says that she's going to fight as hard as she can and ask him to fight too. Kosei looks down and tells her that it'd be a miracle for him to play at all. Then she suddenly just kind of does like an air violin thing. I guess she acts like she's playing the violin, or she imitates playing the violin and says that miracles happen all the time. Kaori tells Kosei that you are inside me, Kosei Arima-kun. She tells him that she wants to know that Kaori wants to know more about him and that she is scared. Kaori yells as she is being held by Kosei and crying, and she yells, "Don't leave me alone," as she's being held by Kosei and is crying at the same time. The East Japan piano competition starts at the same time as Kaori's surgery, before Kaori is put to sleep, or the finals of the tournament. Kaori says, and this is from Peanuts, Marcy saying it, "Well, sir, we all need someone to kiss us goodbye." Marcy. So Kosei sits in the hallway looking utterly distraught. Emi completes her performance and seemingly nails it. Takeshi then completes his performance. His instructor doesn't know who is better between Takeshi and Emi. Mike is shown in disguise in the audience, and then backstage, Takeshi tries to help Kosei, but he just sits there in the hallway. Emi then sees this as well. Kosei gets up and says he'll be okay. Emi comments that he's as white as a sheet. Kosei tells them that he has to play because he's a pianist and he promised. Kosei gets to the stage, and when he sits, he starts crying and covers his face with his hands. Tsubaki in the audience sneezes. Kosei looks at the audience and realizes that everyone's there watching him. Kosei plays and thinks of everyone who came into his life and made it richer. He then plays how his kind lives like his life, or their kind lives their lives as musicians, I guess. It's said that it's like listening to his music is like listening to the succession of his emotions, and that it's a rich sound. Kosei says that for all those who called him back to the stage, he has to give back to them. His piano is singing and the music is taking color. Kosei realizes that he's not alone. Mike and Nagi start crying and comment on how amazing he is. They then also at the same time show pictures of the surgery and there's blood. Kosei thinks of Kaori, and Kosei says that she is inside of him. Kosei would never give her the satisfaction of leaving her alone. He wants the music to reach her and to take everything he has and bring it to her. Takeshi asks backstage, he just makes this comment that if Kosei's embarrassed, his performance is a love confession. Hiroko asks why Kosei's music is so full of color and why are those colors so sad. Kosei looks to his right and he sees Kaori playing the violin. They continue to play, but Kaori starts to disappear into like flower petals or like sakura. I think they're sakura petals or cherry blossom petals. So we'll just say they're cherry blossom petals. He tells her not to go and not to leave him. Kaori cries before she totally disappears. At the end of the performance, Kaori disappears into cherry blossom petals as Kosei just sits there crying. He gets a standing ovation and the crowd just goes wild. Takeshi backstage comments that he really is something. Emi says that we are on a journey. We always have been and we always will be. And I, as in her, I bet it's going to be a great one. Kosei internally asks if it reached Kaori and if his voice made it to her. We see a scene where Kaori is holding a black cat with cherry blossom trees in the background. And then back on the stage, Kosei internally says goodbye. Later, Kosei receives a letter from Kaori Miyazono. The letter starts with Dear Kosei Arima-sama. She saw Kosei first perform when she was 5. Once he played a single note, she longed to be like him. The girl next to her started crying in the audience. And Kaori jumped. She then goes home and tells her parents that she's going to quit the piano and play the violin because she wants Kosei to play the piano. So, in the present, at the cemetery, it's still the past, but closer to the present, we're shown Kaori's parents give Kosei the letter. They thank him for bringing color to her life. So, on with the letter. Kaori discovered that she went to the same middle school as Kosei. However, him and his friends were all in a tight group of friends, so there was no room for her. She had surgery when she was little, and the hospital became her second home. Her stays got longer and longer, and she almost didn't go to middle school at all. One night, she saw her mom and dad crying in the hospital waiting room. She knew that she didn't have much longer, so that's when she took off running. She did whatever she wanted, and just once, she told a lie. She said that Kaori Miyazono loved Ryota Watari, and that was her lie. But the lie brought Kosei Arima to her. She asked to apologize in the letter to Tsubaki as she didn't want to cause any weird rifts. She says that Tsubaki has always loved Kosei, and everybody's known that forever except for Tsubaki and Kosei. When her lie brought Kosei to her, he wasn't what she imagined him to be. Um, Kaori then asks if she managed to live in anyone's hearts and in his heart. Will he think of her even for a moment? She tells him that she doesn't want him to hit reset, to which he says that he couldn't pay him to. She says, "Don't forget me," and he says that he won't. And she also says, "You promise," to which he says, "I know." She then tells him that she's really glad it was him. She asks if this will reach him. Finally, Kaori tells Kosei that she loves him. She apologizes for various things and thanks him. Kosei says that he should be thanking her, and in a PS, she gives Kosei her treasure. Kosei walks home and runs into Tsubaki. Tsubaki tells him that she's going to stick to him forever and ever. It's said that soon it will be spring, and it will be a spring without Kaori. So at the end of the series, we see a framed picture on top of Kosei's piano of a young Kaori along with her friend, and Kosei is in the background looking at the direction. So, some thoughts on Volume 11. What can you say here, man? This is, man, it's emotional recapping it. Reading it, it is just, it's so emotional. I don't know how else to say it. It's amazing. Well, let's just start with Kosei being unable to play. I mean, that was some dark times for Kosei right there. I mean, he's already had it pretty rough. You know, mom died, human metronome. Now, the girl that he loves is in dire straits in the emergency room. This is before, obviously, she died. But, it took a lot for him to just be able to pick himself up and play because he had every reason to act the way he did. I mean, it's just like, wow, even his cat Chelsea was gone, the black cat Esau was gone. Um, yeah, his mom's gone. The love of his life may be gone, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know how this kid plays either. If you really think about it, I kind of, how does this kid go on living, in a sense? Yeah, he went through some pretty tough stuff. Um, the performance, though, amazing, just amazing. That the author really knows how to capture the feelings and emotions of the performance through other characters and how they're feeling. In a sense, you get an idea of like how the music is, or at least is supposed to play. Even though you can't physically hear it through the book, it's really well done. In a sense, like these performances are like the highlight of the series. They really are like, if this were an action, if this was a shonen manga, that would be like the battle, like the big action scene, I mean, that's what these performances are. Wow, man, his performance is so sad. I mean, they laid it on thick with just the sadness. You know what I mean? It's just like he can't even play. This dude's crying on the seat, and then like he's trying to pick himself up through everyone else. Everyone's crying. Everyone's emotional. Takeshi just says it right there, and he's just like, "Dude, this is a love confession." Um, then he sees Kaori playing the violin, and then she starts disappearing on them. Oh man, I mean, into like cherry blossoms, petals, and it's just wow. That was a lot right there. I mean, and then she disappears. It's like you had that final performance together in a sense, as if she's an angel. You know, it's oh man, that was so heavy. Oh, what can you say? And then I gotta say too, I really like Emmy's line, and it's like, yeah, where she says like, yeah, we are on a journey, and she bets it's gonna be a great one, and I'm just like, yeah, that's it, man. That's what this whole manga is about. It's just this great journey. Um, and she realizes that. It looks like Takeshi realizes it too, and like after there's like before the performance itself, and then after the performance, and everything is just like is there. Like it's emotional. It starts out dark, then it starts picking up thanks to his friend Tsubaki, especially by sneezing, and then it hits this like crescendo where it like where he sees Kaori, and then she starts disappearing. It starts going down again. And then everyone is just emotional, and by then it's just there's this level of like satisfaction, to perform it. He managed to perform. Everyone got stronger because of it. You know what I mean? It's just like reconfirmed just how good Kosei is as a pianist and a musician. His rivals just knew like right then and there. It's like, dude, this guy's the man. You know what I mean? Like we have our work cut out for him, for us. And Emmy just says, it's going to be a great journey, and that I think that really says it all. Kaori, went through with the surgery, and didn't go so well. I guess it was kind of expected. I guess there were some like slivers of hope in a sense that like things were gonna work out because she was doing the rehab. She was imitating playing the violin. He asked her to play together again. So there was always that small bit of hope that like she doesn't die. You know, as a reader, it kind of pointed that way. You don't actually know what her illness is. I guess it doesn't matter, you know. Um, but like they in a sense got to play together. Kosei and Kaori, they got to play together one last time in a sense. Um, and these two just had such an amazing relationship together. The letter says it all. What can he say? Kaori loved Kosei. It was obvious. It was a little too obvious. I mean, it was just, he was always the one. Watari was just kind of there to kind of throw everyone off. But it was a little too obvious. They laid that on pretty thick that Kaori has a very deep relationship with Kosei. We always knew Kosei loved Kaori. I mean, that was just there. She brought him up, you know. He was at his low point. He wasn't playing piano. She's the one that more or less brought him back. And then what brought him back the second time wasn't just her, but everyone that helped him reach that point. The letter was, as far as an ending goes, and the letter was good. It kind of just explained everything. It explained what your lie in April is, what the lie is. Um, it's kind of what we expected. The emotional payoff was pretty big, especially at the end when she says like I love that she loved him. Um, yeah, I've heard some critiques say that like it wasn't as huge of an emotional payoff as it probably could have been, or like what many were expecting. The emotional payoff of the final performance was really, you got a lot from that, but this letter, really does explain it all, of why things were, in a sense, like how did she come into his life and whatnot, and this big master plan. Um, it was a journey, and really, I said it before in other volumes, but at the end of the day, this the series is a lot of things, but it really is. It's one. It's one big journey between like all these characters, and a lot of these characters really do come like full circle. In a sense, Kaori's a strong one. She weakens. And she brought Kosei up. She gets weaker. Kosei brings her up, and then unfortunately she dies. But like not until she can like in a sense come back and have one last performance. Kosei started off weakened, couldn't play piano. Kaori brought him up. Of course, he brings her up again, brings color back to her life, and then he's on a down, and then everyone brings him back up, and in turn he brings everyone up around him. Tsubaki, she is brought up. She didn't know her feelings. She's doing well in school. She's getting good grades on the mock exam. For him. To be with him. And eventually she figures out her feelings. And at the very end, she's like, "Hey, I'm not gonna. You're stuck with me. That's it. That's how that goes full circle there. Watari doesn't get it as much. He was always. He wasn't like too major of a character, I guess, to really have much. I mean, he had this thing with the sports and whatnot, and he was like the person with Kaori here and there, but even he knew, that like, hey, he said one line was like, "Hey, man, when things happen, it's always you, Kosei, that you ask for, not me," you know. And then you go with like Hiroko, who couldn't even see um, Kosei and the Arima family after the death of the mother. And then, she comes back, she teaches him, she sees his growth, and then he even starts teaching. And then Hiroko picks up yet another student in Nagi, in a sense, and everything just kind of comes full circle. She actually becomes more of like the surrogate mother to Kosei, and she even says like he's my son, more or less. And then Emi and Takeshi, they they also were lifted up by Kosei as well. And then this journey, with Emi wasn't really trying. She's really moody. When Kosei came back, that was it. Like, okay, I'm the best now. Like her game gets so elevated. And then with Takeshi, it's like he sees his hero and he's disappointed. And then he keeps chasing this guy and he's on a down. And then Kosei actually, with the help of his sister, brings him up, inspires him to fight through it all. And then Takeshi gets back up there, and they become friends. So it's a crazy journey with these guys, um, of what happens. It's just a real big journey. There's love, there's loss. Um, Bonds are created, bonds are broken. It's got a little bit of everything in it. It's a great series. Um, I'd like to actually watch the anime and see what that's all about. It's super expensive to buy the DVDs. Um, I'd have to find it like through some sort of stream or whatnot. Maybe Crunchyroll or something has it. I don't know. But I'd like to see the anime. But like as far as the manga series goes, I mean, this is one of the best. This is seriously one of the best things I've read in a long time. So, highly recommended series. Very personal, very emotional. Um, you really feel for it. It's character driven. For the most part, it's driven by the characters. I mean, there is a story there of redemption, but like, it's driven by this group of characters who are no, they're all good too. There wasn't really a true antagonist. And there's characters acting antagonistically, if that's a word, but they're not true antagonists. Whether it's Mike, Nagi at one point, Takeshi, Ami, but at the end of the day, they're all connected to Kosei. So, you know, not even the mom. The mom was kind of an antagonist early on, and then he found out, dude, she loved Kosei more than anyone else. You know. So yeah, that's the thing with this manga series. Great series, highly, highly, highly recommended. So that's all for today. If you like this, don't forget to subscribe, share, and comment to this channel if you're on YouTube, or follow, share, and comment on this channel if you're listening to this on SoundCloud. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Stitcher, please rate, review, and share this channel. Thank you for listening to this manga review. Next time, I will have a manga review for Kobato, volumes 1 and 2, and a reading of The Underachievers, pages 7 and 8. Thank you, and until next time.